Somebody would come into my office and say, "Hey, I got a problem." And I'd stop and I'd just bark at them. Whoa, give me the solution first, then give me the problem. So I would make them think about what was, the problem, what needed to be done.
All right, welcome back to the Built for Profit podcast. I am super excited to have Mr. Doug here. He is calling in from College Station, Texas, and we were just chatting a little bit before we started recording about his basketball days at Texas A&M and then growing into the property management space and real estate world. And so I'm just honestly fired up to have him here just to glean from his wisdom of doing one thing consistently for 35 plus years and just growing and understanding that space. So Mr. Doug, thank you so much for being here. So if you want to kick us off, you tell us a little bit of who Doug is, how he got to College Station, and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, so in 1976, as an 18-year-old freshman, I went down to College Station, Texas from Minnesota. Business was going to be my deal, and I had no direction. You're 18, you're kind of thinking one foot in front of the other. Anyway, long story short, graduated, business degree, no idea what I wanted to do. People look at me today and they think I had a vision and they think I'm very accomplished. And, I take the compliment. It's 1,100 units today. It's 12 employees. It appears as though I had a great vision and I accomplished, great things. The truth is, it's compounding. It's 35 years of trying to make good decisions. And I had no vision. I was playing basketball. I'm loving it. I'm 6'11" tall. I'm 250 pounds. I was drinking a lot of beer. I was chasing girls. I was having a ball. I mean, I loved A&M and I loved being here in my college days. And then upon graduation, I needed a direction. So the brief history of Doug Pederson and Twin City Properties is Texas A&M for basketball and beer, graduated, no direction. This is important. I interviewed twice, and corporate positions repelled me, and I didn't understand who I was, and I didn't understand my DNA. But my wife calls me today probably unhireable, and so I needed to be an entrepreneur. And as it turns out, I'm a pretty decent entrepreneur. So A&M, no direction, started to buy property, bought a fixer-upper, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Okay, this is fascinating, Doug. I love this so much. So obviously, after the basketball world at Texas A&M, when did you get married? And then obviously, you just right out of college bought your first property? Did you borrow money for that, or did you have the money saved up to kind of go in and do this fix and flip? And I wanted to hear when you got married to kind of hear about your partner in crime along the way.
Okay, so all great questions. So to kind of bore you with some details, I graduate in 80.
Okay.
I buy a house to live in 84. And after graduation, I started building decks and fences, really just looking for beer money. I got married. I bought a house. I'm still doing the construction thing, but if I'm honest, I hate it. I mean, it's not any money. It's not going to lead to retirement. I hate it. And I'm kind of really in that quandary. Like, I need a vision. I need a better plan. I need a better idea. And so in 1989, with construction as a background, I now have probably 8 or 10 employees. I have an estimator, I have an accountant. It's not a construction company. I mean, that's like on the outside, it's a cluster on the inside. I don't doing, it's a mess, and we're not making money. But I buy a fixer-upper. I buy a little house for like $11,500 in 1989. I put it up. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to put a total of $20,000 into this thing. I'm going to sell it for 40. The problem with that is that nobody writes you a check for a $40,000 house, and nobody gets a loan for a $40,000 house. So I got this nice property. The only guy that realistically wants it is an investor who wants me to own or finance it. I don't have any costs, and I'm broke. I sell that house, but I listened to him, and I guess really he transformed my life. I wrote the ad and put it in the paper exactly word for word like he was telling me he was gonna do it, and I ended up renting that little $11,000 house for 325
Wow.
bucks, and I instantly got the
Yeah.
math, and I went, "This is friggin' cool." And you have to understand in 1989 in Bryan College Station, they were available on every corner in multiple units at grossly discounted values, and I just went around and swept them up like I had a broom and a
Wow.
dustpan. And after 3 units, the bank that I was working with said, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. We told you we'd do 2. We can't do 3," because they didn't know who
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
was. I was an unknown. They're gonna minimize their risk. So I found a doctor friend of mine to refinance the first one.
Okay.
Paid premium. He loaned me money. He was thrilled. I was thrilled. And then on the second refinance or on the second purchase, I found who ended up being one of my best friends, an amazing business mentor. Guy's name was Jack Threadgill. He passed away in 2014, but he had just sold some businesses and he was sitting on cash. And as God will sometimes look out for us, he introduced me to Jack. Jack said, we'll do first right of refusal. As long as we're having fun, we like each other, and we're making money, I want first right of refusal, but at some point you'll probably outgrow me. You won't need me. And he said, that's fine. But for now, I'm in, I'm willing and able, and let's go on down this
Yeah.
path. Well, as it turned out, God didn't put me in touch with a guy that had money. God put me in touch with a guy that had money and was
Yeah, yeah, that's
kind
good.
and was smart and was
Yeah.
humble and was driven to be a good
Yeah.
person, but also to make money. And I absorbed everything he
Y
said. I was the loud guy. I was the funny guy. He was the quiet little demure guy that sat in the corner. But as soon as people figured out that was Jack, he was the guy in the room that everybody
Yeah.
listened to. You were quiet and you hopefully caught whatever he said because he was going to transform the meeting. He was going to change your life. He was an amazing man.
Yeah.
Ended up coming down with lung
Oh,
cancer,
wow.
passed away in 14, changed my life. Great
Wow.
guy. And through my meeting with Jack and partnering with him, I walked into every negotiation buying a piece of property like I carried a big stick. I had no idea how much money he had. I had no idea what he was worth. But instead of me walking in timid, I walked in confident, like I could write the check. And I could only write the check because of
Yeah.
him, but I could check. And that puts you in a very powerful position. And I end up being a good negotiator. I end up being really good at what we're doing. I end up good with the vendors, with the tenants. One of our philosophies, I know I'm skipping all over the place, but one of our philosophies in the office is solve the problem, but make a friend. Now, a friend will not take
That's
advantage
good.
of you. A friend, good things for you. So we have to solve the problem, but then we have to endear ourselves to
Yeah.
each other so that this relationship can go forward and we can do this many times over many months and years. So, I'm really proud of my team. I'm proud of the company. But if you want to go back to basics, you want to talk about how it started. I had no money, I had no
Yeah.
credit, and I bumped people that had both money and credit. And then I found a guy named Jack Threadgill, and I cannot give him enough credit. Austin, when we were buying property fast and
Yeah.
furious, people would catch wind of who we were and what we were doing. And occasionally they would stop me and they would, want to know how I'm doing this or what's going on or how we did this. And I would look at them and I would go, for instance, you and I are on the street. I'd go, Austin, 2 guys in my boardroom. There's me, and then there's the guy that's got all the right answers, meaning Jack. It ain't hard to be me. You know, being in a room with a guy that's got all the right answer. Now, here's the other thing critically important about Jack's character. In 25 years being in business together, he never once told me what to
Oh,
do.
wow.
He never once said, Doug, do this. He was so smart and he was so humble and he was such a great people person. He would literally look at me and he would ask questions and we would go full circle until we came up with the correct answer. But he always made me feel like I came up with the answer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm in business with my dad. I'm in business with my best friend. He was 17 years my senior.
Okay.
And hey, I'm blessed
Yeah.
because of that relationship with Jack. Now, the other thing I did is I cherished that relationship. I guarded that relationship. And no matter what, excuse me, and I didn't realize this until after he was gone, but my motivation to succeed was really the motivation not to fail Jack.
Yeah, wow, that's
Because
powerful. Yeah.
everything was gonna work come hell or high water, and because of his character, because of the person he was, I
Yeah.
was motivated to make sure that I protected that, guarded it, and made sure we were successful. So,
Yeah.
there's a nuances to being in business with people that you love and respect, and Jack transformed my life.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing man. Made me wealthy, made
Yeah.
me smart, made me wise, made me wealthy. Super
No,
guy.
well, I love hearing so much about that story. I mean, obviously you mentioned this, but I just love that God's a relational God, right? And he puts people strategically in your path to push you forward. And Jack was that for you, which is like so fun for me to hear. And honestly, just for listeners to think about like there are strategic relationships in your life that will get you to 100% to the next level. And Jack was that for you. And I just love that you even talked about like, to me, that's signs of good leadership of how he was able to like work with you, build with you, and then you came to the conclusion through his support, basically, as y'all walked and built together. So I think that is so, so, so powerful. So real quick, before we dive into the relationship side of it, I would love to kind of rewind a little bit and go back to, okay, you were running the construction company, had 8 or 9 employees, and then obviously met Jack, started to look at the properties and saying like, man, there's power in the rental business. So how did you pivot from construction to property management, or did you run 2 at the same time, or what did that look like for you in that transition?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I get that a lot. So I've got 8 or 9 employees, and one of them's answering the phone, one of them's doing estimates, one of them's supervising construction, and I've got people in place relative to painting a house, adding on a wing, adding a second story, doing demolition. I mean, we if you were going to write the check, we were going to do the work, and we didn't really specialize in anything. We were just kind of looking to make a buck.
Yeah.
And when I bought the 702 North Coulter, Bryan, Texas, by the way, that's the
Okay.
very first piece. When I bought it, it was in horrible disrepair. It needed to be painted. It was off kilter. It was pier and beam. The lawn needed to be mowed, all this stuff. And so I had the guys. And so my dad had put in front of me these books, Real Estate 101 and how to buy property with no money down and all this stuff. My dad, he got it. He couldn't really do it, but he got it and he understood it. And he was an amazing father. He passed away in 14 as well.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and so my dad, being a super dad who wants his kids to, succeed, bought me these books and I read them.
Yeah.
And I kind of did it as a favor to him, and it was okay. It didn't light me up. It wasn't the instant kind of wham kind of thing. So I did the construction for a while and then realized I was unhappy and it wasn't going to go anywhere. I ended up, I think it was kind of being a flipper before it was popular to be a flipper. This is 1989.
Yeah.
And I was fixer upper. And I told the realtor, I believe his name was Artie Hancock. Did a lot of business with Artie. God bless him. He also changed my life. But I told Artie, I said, I think we were sitting there having lunch and I went, I want to buy a piece of crap. And he shocked, he kind of jumps back and he goes, what? I said, Artie, I want to buy a piece of crap so that I can fix up. I'm going to pay nothing for it. I'm going to put some money in it. I'm going to fix it up. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to sell it. He goes, okay, yeah. Because if he tells the story today, he's up in North Texas somewhere. He
Okay.
tells the story. He goes, Doug told me to find him a piece of crap. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what that meant. And anyway, so I bought a downtrodden 2-bedroom house, and then I fixed it up, and we were off to the races. I failed selling it, but again, that's God's hand. I could have,
Yeah.
but instead of selling it, I ended up keeping it, and then that's literally when the pieces and the glue came together. You buy it, you sell it, you pay tax, you got to go find another one.
Yep.
You buy it, you fix it up, you keep it, and your tenants pay off your debt and put a little bit of money in your pocket. You grow your asset. And at my level now, 1,100 units, I
Yeah.
don't have to go find anything.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
literally fat and happy. We're not worried about making payroll. I
Yeah,
don't go, there's no pressure to go find the next one.
yeah,
But people know you can close. Realtors know they can make a commission off you. It's not an ugly statement, it's a real statement. And when they bring me deals, and again, now I carry my own big stick. When they bring me a deal, I'm going to buy it.
yeah.
And I do a 1031 tax exchange, and I go from 6 units in this little, ownership to 60 units, which is what I'm literally doing right now. What's
Wow.
today? Thursday. We closed yesterday selling 3 duplexes, $975,000. And tell me again if this isn't God. $975,000 gross sales amount, selling the 3 duplexes that I owned outright, free and clear,
Wow.
to buy 60 units at 4.55 million. What's 20% of 4.55 million?
Yeah,
That's right.
plus a million. Yeah,
So I take the 6 duplexes and I transform it into 15 fourplexes or 60 units. Yeah, it's math. I know the town like the back of my hand and I can balance a checkbook. I've got
yeah,
some construction expertise. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. And we've had a great run. And actually, I know I'm wandering a lot on you here, but at first it was buying a house, fixing it up, renting it. Then it
yeah,
was buying more property. Then it was buying more property and having an employee or 2 or 3. Then it's trying to keep everybody on the same page. How do I instill in them the knowledge that I have?
yeah,
Well, today, 35 years later, 12 amazing employees that love me and love what we're doing. But now the challenge, if you will, that if you came into my office and you asked my staff and you looked at me and they knew we were friends and you pointed at me and you said, "What does Doug do?" They would smile at you and go, "Nothing. Doug does nothing." And then laugh and they would have fun with you. But a second later, somebody would go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, no. He creates chaos. He's the CC, chief chaos officer." So if you have if you have a lot of property with a handful of employees that are great,
yeah,
what do great employees want? Well, they want to get paid, obviously, but
yeah.
they be challenged.
That's right.
Sell the 6 units to buy the 60. We're growing the business. I'm growing my own net worth, but I'm actually challenging them. And now it's not that much of a challenge. We literally just throw them the keys and say, go do what we do. My
Yeah.
wife, senior designer, she does all
Oh,
the
cool.
land. She does interiors, she picks the colors, she does the roof colors,
Awesome.
and so
Yeah,
on. And so we've got a system. I
yeah,
mean, the wheel has been invented, but we went from simply having fun buying a house to now challenging amazing employees. So
yeah.
this culture that we've created is really strong and powerful. It's still based about real estate, but now the shift is how do we take better care of our employees?
Yeah, yeah. No, Doug, that is so good. I think to me, there's just so much power in decades of consistency, kind of what you're doing. So I'd love for you to share. And I actually got this from David Green, who started Hobby Lobby. He wrote a book a few years ago and just talks about the power of consistency over a 50-year period of focusing on one thing.
Yep.
Obviously, you've been doing it for 35 years. So I'd love for you to kind of share, like, okay, what did your business look like 10 years in? What did your business look like then 20 years in? And now what does it look like 30 to 35 years in? And how has that shifted? And you can talk about unit count or team or culture or how you pivoted along the way, but what does that look like?
Well, I'm happy to talk about that and really excited that you asked the question. When people look at me now, and I want to be careful how I say this, but we have about my wife and I have a dozen cars. I have some very, very, very rare Civil War authentic weapons.
Wow.
Uh, got sports memorabilia. I've got a shoe that Shaq wore that
Okay.
he signed, the size of, a
That's
pond.
22, I think, right? I mean, it's massive.
Yeah, 23s, yeah.
Like,
I own the 2 swords that guarded John F. Kennedy's coffin. There's
wow.
only 2 in the world, and I own both of them. I
Wow.
own a baseball bat, game used by Michael Jordan, in a
Wow.
shadow box with a jersey issued to Michael Jordan by the team, autographed by Michael Jordan, with a baseball signed by Michael Jordan. And my point saying all that is that in the first year, I bought a house
Yeah.
and I'm broke. I
Yeah.
got no money. I got no credit. I'm enthusiastic. I'm energetic. Um, Nothing, and again, you kind of discover who you are as you go down this path. Nothing gets me more fired up than somebody telling me no to something that I know is yes. So in the first 5 or 10 years, I didn't pay myself much of anything. Didn't have any money, but I knew like I knew. Like
Yeah.
God covered me with this wet blanket that just comforted me.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be something. I knew when I paid 11,000 for that house, excuse me, I put another 8 or 9,000 in it. I had $20,000 in a house that's going to rent for 325 and then 350 and then 400. I
Yeah.
knew that was a 40 or 50 or $60,000 house. So
Yeah.
I understood the leverage. I understood the math. I understood the geography, meaning I understood my town,
Yeah.
and I was pumped up. The
Yeah.
other thing about me is I don't want to be in the crowd going the direction of the crowd. I'm
Gotcha.
a contrarian investor,
Yeah.
meaning if everybody's going left, I'm going right. And
Yeah.
so these people that were giving up their property, banking had failed, cattle had failed, oil had failed. The economy was bad around here, and people were literally walking away from their property. The second piece of property that I bought, you'll get a kick out of this, 1005 East 29th Street in Bryan. The Texas Housing Agency has it advertised for sale for 20,000. It's probably a 1,500 square foot, 3 bedroom, 2 bath house.
Okay.
I offered them $10,000. They said yes.
Wow.
Oh, I was PO'd, Austin. Why was I PO'd? Because I should have offered them eight,
Yeah.
right? So they're just available on every corner, and I
Yeah.
just kept buying them. And now I'm partnered with Jack
Yeah.
at, in my mind, unlimited resources as long as I invest wisely.
Yeah.
Now, here's a good question, and I've kind of taken off and I'm running. In the first 10 years, business is, fun, it's exciting, but we're really not making any money. We're building this
Yeah.
curve, the XY axis, we're building it. In
Yeah.
years probably 15 through 20 or 25, we've got some cash, we've got some momentum, we've got some equity. We're building something. In the last 10 or 15 years, the last 10 years anyway, different game. I'm paying myself a decent wage, we're hiring good people, we're doing SOPs, a standard operating procedure. We're trying to become more businesslike. But here's my question back to you. In 35 years, being successful at 67 and on your podcast, you're hoping and praying I'm honest and legit and I tell a good story about how we built this thing. But let me ask you this. What's the biggest mistake I've made in 35 years?
Not buy more houses.
Exactly. You caught that immediately. A lot
Yeah.
of people say you bought a piece of property and it was a dog and it ate your lunch. No, that's not it. Today
Yeah.
I own 1,100 units. It should be 11,000 units.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the
Got.
problem with that is you can only stomach so much negative cash flow, and
Yeah.
there's only hours in the day, and nothing was going to jeopardize my relationship with Jack. Everything had to be profitable. Everything had to make money. So I was relatively conservative, though I went into neighborhoods that others did not go into, and I bought dogs that other people would not buy. But
Yeah.
I'd literally pay 30 cents on the dollar, put another 20 cents on the dollar into it, make a dollhouse that people fought over, and
Yeah.
I'm in a $100,000 place for 50 grand. And I
Yeah.
did all day long.
Yeah.
The first one of the significant purchases that I made early, probably 1990, 6 duplexes. I still own them today. 2 doctors were in practice together and were in business together. They hated each other at the time of the sale, and I ended up making them an offer. I think it was about $30,000 a duplex, and they each brought a check to the closing to pay to get out of this deal, to get away from each other. Yeah. So I bought the 6 duplexes. I own them today. They're paid for and
Yeah.
they're worth about 250 to 275 a piece today. But that's a 35-year story.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Be dug today, but nobody wants to be dug 35 years
That's
ago.
right. Yep.
And so I love this statement, which is, I'll do anything to be like you, Doug. And then there's a comma, except what you did.
Yeah, exactly. They
I,
want what you want, but they're not willing to do what you did.
my wife was asked, we were supposed to go to a party or we were, having dinner with some friends or something. I was running late and they said, "Where's Doug?" And my wife kind of rolled her eyes and she laughs and she giggles. She goes, "I don't know." And she really didn't have any idea where I was. And she goes, "Up on a roof somewhere." So I was heavily involved in all aspects. I showed the property, I bought the property, I supervised the renovations, I rented the property. I honed my salesmanship skills, and I loved that period of my life. But what's fascinating is because I did manage my own property, because I went through all that initial, grinding, if you will,
Yeah.
I'm a great boss because when my staff comes to me and says, "Hey, we got a problem," I've been there.
Yeah, you've
I,
lived it, yeah.
I know firsthand how to fix it and what we should do. Actually, you can tell I'm pretty chatty. One of my biggest weaknesses as a boss is talking too much. I really need to down and let them come in and let them try and solve the problem. I used to do this deal. I still do it some, but I used to do this deal. Somebody would come into my office and say, "Hey, I got a problem." And I'd stop and I'd just bark at them. "Whoa, give me the solution first, then give me the problem." So I would make them think about what was, the problem, what needed to be done. This
Yeah.
young into my office, he goes, "Hey, I got a question for you." And I yelled at him. I said, "Tell me the answer first." And he kind of stops. He thinks about it for a second. He goes, "Okay, brownies." And I went, "What? What's the question?" He goes, "Well, I'm putting together a list for everybody's birthday and what they want for their special treat when we buy a cake or So I laughed and I said, "Okay, you got me. You got me." Brownies is a great answer. I should have answered it before I yelled at you to solve it. What's interesting about your original question is the first couple of years, you're just trying to figure out which foot goes in front of which foot.
Yeah.
Next couple of years is you have some employees. How do we all think the same? How are we all going to be on the same page? Then
Yeah.
you have employees and more property. Now we need to create in writing a standard operating procedure
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. And now we're literally at the point where how do I empower my employees? How do I teach them so that not just working for me is beneficial for me, them living their life in a different way is beneficial for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
Uh, transformation. A couple of books along the way that maybe you're interested in. Michael Gerber, The
Oh,
E-Myth,
yeah. Yeah, I love that book.
transformed my life.
Yeah.
My number one go-to is Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If we're going to be real estate specific, we're going to do Gary Keller's The Millionaire Real
Oh,
Estate.
yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, but I love to read. I
Yeah.
love YouTube. I think we can do brain surgery with YouTube. I really do.
Yeah.
No, but in order to be smarter, you have to be passionate
That's
and you
right.
can be thirsty. You can take people to lunch. You can read books. You can ask a lot of questions. You cannot be prideful.
Yeah.
You have to be vulnerable and you have to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Man,
that's so good.
sorry. What else you got for questions? I'm sorry. I'm rambling
No,
all.
that's good. I love it because I mean, honestly, you just reminded me of these principles that I just continue to try to live out, which is, leaders are learners. And I love that you're a reader and constantly trying to learn and develop and grow and be passionate for your team. And so it's so good. So really, really kind of my last question to kind of wrap us up a little bit here is I'm curious, obviously 35 years in, what does the next 10 years look like? Obviously you're doing the 1031 exchanges, maybe pivoting to bigger properties, or is commercial in your future? Or are you thinking about legacy and passing off to the next generation? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, we actually own 2 office buildings totaling about 70,000 square feet. I own an
Mhm.
RV park. I own 2 metal storage facilities.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We have about 7 or 750 residential units.
Okay.
Uh, I own 48 acres with a house and a barn and a cabin on it. And my portfolio is very eclectic. I mean, if
Yeah.
it was
Wow. That's great.
about it, and that's been a little bit of a downside. You try and keep maintenance as an idea, a factor.
Yeah.
I pay my guys, there's 4 guys, I probably pay them to drive an hour and a half minimum each day because they got to go to the supply house, back to the property, back to the office. So if you own two 500 unit apartment complexes, you'd have much more efficiency than
Yeah, yeah,
having
yeah.
stuff scattered all over. Um, Austin, I'll be honest with you. My biggest, I hate to say predicament, my biggest challenge, my biggest unknown right now is that I have a stepdaughter and I love her, but she's 46 years old, successful, married, two kids, so I have grandchildren.
Yeah.
They don't need my money, and I wouldn't leave it to them, not because I don't like them or love them, but it's big enough now that you're not gonna leave that kind of money to one person,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
legacy is a great question. I think, picking up a little bit on our conversation, I've done 90% of the talking, but what you've said and I responded, I wanna be a good steward.
Yeah, that's good.
I wanna be a good, godly man, and I have sin in my life. I'm imperfect. I recognize that.
Yeah.
I love my wife. I love my life with my wife. I'm
Me
blessed. I love my staff. But what do I do with this now that I built it? And it's really it's a very challenging question. And let me hit you with this. I'm 67. And so for the first 10 or 12 years of my, adulthood, so to speak, was basketball. The challenge was go run some more hills or go, do some more push-ups or go play another basketball game, shoot some free throws, shoot some jumpers,
Yeah.
own your skills. But then there's this lost vision, this where do I go and what do I do? Then there's this awakening, almost like a lightning bolt. This is what I'm going to do. And then there's an amazing, fun challenge of building and growing and buying and renovating. I'm having a ball and I'm 67.
Yeah.
And some friends of mine, doctors and others, I'm going to retire in a year. And when I retire, I'm out of here. And I literally just quit doing what I'm doing. And I love these guys, but I think to myself, how much did you hate what you were doing?
That's right. Yeah.
Snap your finger and you're done.
Yeah.
I can, and I'm 67 and I literally do relatively nothing at my office. I can spend an hour or two a month managing our business and our portfolio with the staff that I've got, with what they've gone through, with the standard operating procedures, with the rules and regulations, with 35 years of trying to get to be smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
You actually asked a very brilliant question. I don't know, except to be a good steward, put one foot in front of the other, sell 6 units to buy 60 units because I love it. I'm still
Yeah.
in what we do. But when I'm done, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a sad problem, don't get me wrong.
No, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Great problem, but I don't know what to do with it, and I don't know who to leave it to. And
Yeah.
to sell it, then you still have the money. Who do you leave the money to?
Yeah.
And often if you leave people that don't know how to deal with money or how to make money, if you leave them a lot of money, you ruin their lives.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So taking care of family and friends is a great idea. Taking care of people. We've got 3 or 4 charities that we're really big on. My wife's on the board of Aguilar Humane. That's dogs and cats. I'm on the board of Still Creek Ranch. I'm on the board of SOS Ministries. I'm on the board
Wow.
of so on and so forth. So we've got charities that we love,
Yeah.
people that we really want to work with and help and support. But it's a fantastic problem created over 35 years. Everybody wants my problem. Everybody wants to be where I am 35 years into this. Very few people are patient or disciplined enough
Yeah.
to ride out the time necessary to create that curve where your wealth grows exponentially. I love saying, do you know why Warren Buffett's worth $150 billion today? Because he was worth 120 billion last year. It's
Exactly.
compounding. It's compounding. It's compounding.
Yeah.
So interest rates are important. They're not as important as ownership.
Yep.
And paying down debt and paying off debt, critically important, especially if you talk to Dave Ramsey and people like that. But again, with discipline, with some knowledge, debt reduction is not as important as ownership. You want to buy more, you want to buy it faster, and you want to buy it sooner. And to be blunt, once you own it, don't sell it.
Yeah.
And don't ever refinance it. Don't pull cash out and take a $100,000 note and turn it into a $150,000 note. Don't do that,
That's good
because
advice.
what you're doing is you're rewarding yourself for bad behavior. You got yourself in debt. You're going to refinance property that you're always able to refinance, because in America, in life, the value of properties go up. Never refinance your property. If you buy it, you finance it, pay it down, pay it off, let your tenants pay it off. You'll find yourself, trust me, you'll find yourself at 67 years of age in the snap of a finger before you know it. And you'll look back and go, man, I wish I had that equity, or man, I wish I
Yeah.
hadn't refinanced that, or I wish I hadn't taken on that debt. Don't buy cars. Don't buy. That's why I was hesitant to tell you I got a dozen cars.
Yeah.
Don't buy cars. Don't buy boats. Don't take expensive trips. Don't live in an expensive house that makes everybody think you're the rich guy on the
Yeah.
block. But you want to be below the radar, in my
Yeah.
opinion, and you want to save and live below your abilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's good.
anyway,
No,
I
that's
could.
great advice, Doug. I love it so much. It's that whole concept, like you mentioned in the book already, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, of just like buy things that put money in your pocket. Don't buy things that pull money out of your pocket. So
Right? It's not complicated.
yeah,
It's not easy.
that's right.
Not complicated.
That's right.
If you can identify the difference between an asset and a liability, eliminate all liabilities and focus nothing on except for assets, you're going to be wealthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guaranteed. I
Yeah.
sat down with this couple just the other day. He's a Marine. They're married. They're about to have their first child. I've been speaking with him, kind of mentoring for about a year, maybe two. And he today owns $1.4 million worth of real estate.
Wow, that's
Right.
awesome.
But he's got debt.
Yeah.
And so he's aware that he's not a millionaire yet.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
so what he wants to be is smarter, and he wants to make sure what he's doing is he's doing it properly. I looked at him after we talked and I said, "Hey, by the way, congratulations, you're a millionaire." And he was kind of shocked and he goes, "What?" I said, "Never refinance that property, never sell it. Continue on the path of letting your tenants pay it off for you. And in 20 or 15 or 30, whatever that is, when that note's paid off, the property's gone up 50 to 75% in value, and you're already at 1.4. I said, congratulations, you're a multimillionaire. But you
Yeah.
have to pay the course,
Yep.
get weak, and buy a boat or move up into a nicer neighborhood and buy a bigger, nicer house. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot.
Yep.
It's boring. It's boring. It's boring to become a
Yep.
millionaire, but that's the easiest way to do it.
That's right. Let time do its work, man. I love it. That's so good, Doug. I love this. Well, cool. If anybody wants to reach out to Doug, they want to find out more about you, or if they hear this and they want to get in touch with you, where's the best place to go?
Probably the easiest way to do this, the name of our company is Twin City Properties, and you can go to twincityproperties.com. You can see us and our smiling faces and the properties that we have available for rent. And I help, or I mentor. I love working with people that do the homework, probably a couple dozen, 30 people or so. And it's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling for me if people do reach out, if they do have an interest. I'll tell you this, I actually buy the books and I give them the books, but
Oh,
I
cool.
used to do 3 or 4 at a time. People never read the book. So now what I do is I give you one book and then we talk about it after you read it. And then
Yeah,
I'll send you the second book, but only after you read the first book.
that's good.
Austin, how many people actually read the book I send them?
What, 10%?
5.
Okay.
It's sad, but that
Yeah.
book is a wealth of knowledge
I know.
and the ability to change your life. You got to pay attention and you got to do the work. And I tell people up front, I'll do this and I'll do it for free. That's fulfilling for me. But the minute you stop doing the homework, the minute you stop reaching out to me, I'm done. I got a happy life. I've got great friends. I have an amazing wife, amazing employees. I've got choices. You do the work and I'm fully invested. You don't do the work, it's 100% on your shoulders. I won't reach out. I won't
Yeah, yeah.
pursue. But
No,
anyway,
that's so good. I love it, Doug.
man,
Well,
good
thank
luck.
you again.
a lot. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, I promise you, Doug, you dropped so many nuggets. I wish actually, I wish we could talk for hours. I don't have the time to do that today, but we'll have you on another one because Doug, there's just so much that we can unpack for
I got
what
to
you
do.
just
I'm
shared
gonna
because
spend the day with you, buddy. I got nothing to do. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere.
well, I love it. And honestly, one last nugget that I just want to just kind of reveal what you talked about is that over a 35-year persistent, disciplined pursuit of what you've been building, you've built a business that you love going to every day. And I think that speaks to your doctor friends and the people that you were talking about that said, like, as soon as I retire, I'm out. And I think there is so much power in that you've been disciplined along the way and gone through the valleys to do so. But you've built a life now that you're like, I love my team. I love getting to go into the office. I love that the machine runs itself. There's just power behind doing that, but I think it just takes time to do it, and I just appreciate you sharing your journey along the way.
We every year in January, there's 5 parameters or data points that we put up on an erasable whiteboard. If the team hits those 5 metrics, we close the office for a week. I take everybody on a 7-day cruise. It's
Wow,
double occupancy, so they get to bring a significant other. And if they're with us, my wife and I, we buy the drinks on the cruise. And
that's
so
awesome.
we don't do work, though we do occasionally talk about it because somebody will bring up something, obviously, because they
Yep,
love what they're doing. But we take them on a cruise. The point that I'm making is this past Friday, 5, 6 days ago, they did not win their cruise this year. They came close,
okay,
which means they had an amazing year.
yeah,
So what we did is we took them all plus their significant other. We took about 32 people. We took them to a very, very fancy restaurant. And then afterwards, we walked across the parking lot to a place called Pop Stroke, which is a putt-putt golf place.
okay,
We
cool.
buy the liquor. We don't let them get drunk, but we buy the liquor and we played putt-putt golf. And
Yeah,
then the team got $50 a person. The losing team got 25. I like to create competition.
I love it.
We were done. We were laughing and we were carrying on and we were literally in each other's arms, falling on the ground, laughing, having so much fun with their significant others.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
awesome.
culture of employees. It's a culture of employees providing for their families and bringing them into the culture of who we are. So we are a little bit, if not very different, but culture and employment and enjoyment of the employees, rather, is huge for me. And literally, when I hang up with you, I'm headed to the office where we're interviewing for a couple of positions. I'm not really involved in that process, but I like to stop in and create chaos.
Yeah.
Right.
The chief
I,
chaos officer. I
I,
love it.
I I really and my philosophy is if they're having fun and they're honest and passionate, we're gonna make a lot more money. Because if
Yeah,
they're not having fun, they're a bump on a log and they just show up and they just kinda do their work.
yeah,
My people want to excel. My people want recognition. My people want appreciation. My
yeah,
people wanna make more money. And by God, I'm there to create the environment where we can make all that happen.
yeah,
Austin,
that's
I had
so
a
good.
ball today, buddy. Let's do this again.
No,
This
but
is
we're definitely gonna do it again. I will reach out. We're gonna get it back on the calendar for podcast number
fun.
2 with you because I'm happy to dive more into it. But Doug, thanks so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
Sorry if I rambled too much. I talk a lot, but I
Well, I
appreciate
love
my
it. Hey,
together.
there's wisdom between those 2 ears, man. I appreciate you sharing.
From your mouth to God's ears. I hope you're right.
That's right.